For my project, I will be focusing on how the legacy of slavery has affected today's economy. The three major points that I'll be looking at, one is how the legacy or how slavery has affected the economy of both America and Europe. The second one will be how Europe's history with slavery has affected the commanding heights. The third one will be how slavery and basically everything we know about slavery, racial aspect, and the economic benefits has contributed to China getting up on the global scale of the new day. So the first thing we'll be looking at is the scramble for Africans, which refers to a time period where slavery was basically really high. So basically what happened was, because for so long, Europeans, Portuguese, Americans were stealing resources from Africa. So Africa was in a really, really weak state economically, which allowed for bigger countries to basically swarm in and take a large supply of resources. Here, this is a map of, these are all maps of different areas relating to Africa. So this one is like commodities and where in Africa like we're getting these commodities. I feel like this is upside down, but I really can't. These maps are like of what large countries owned these parts of Africa. The scramble for Africans contributed to the making of a lot of new modern day tools and commodities being mass produced. One of the biggest commodities that really led to a modern tool was sugar. Sugar being mass produced led to the making of coffee, because now you're able to put sugar in your coffee, which basically weaned people off of alcohol and drugs. That led to the first coffee shop in Oxford, 1650, which allowed for people to sit down and talk about political values. Slavery was obviously a very important political topic being discussed at this time. Many people viewed slavery as being right and an amazing, profitable thing to boost the economy. Others viewed it as being wrong and inhumane, which is what this picture represents. This kind of set the tone for what's wrong and what's right in terms of political things. Today, majority of the world views slavery as being wrong. However, many people still have bias towards Black people, which can date back to segregation, which dates all the way back to slavery. So in the 21st century, there was the interwar crisis, which was very big because it was the independence, because it led to the independence of Asia and Africa. Africa was bound to Britain. So during the 21st century, Africa was released. Africa was struggling on an economic basis because they didn't have anything. Meanwhile, Britain and other very large countries that benefited from Africa were booming economically. That's what this image shows. They could now produce large markets, which would boost their economy, feed them, and basically keep countries like Europe and the US at the top of the global order. All of these examples have showed how slavery has impacted the world as a whole, not just per se the countries that colonized Africa and took from Africa specifically, but even other countries, because the countries who are lending have still benefited from the US and Europe and Portugal putting Africa in this unstable global situation, if that makes sense. Basically what I'm saying is the legacy of slavery has given us and other countries the ability to benefit. All the examples that I've shown today have shown how we as a country and other countries benefit from slavery. The legacy and everything we've put them through has kept them in this low economic state, boosting us up. Even China itself is benefiting off of Africa being at the low quote unquote bottom of the food chain and using it to push itself up. So therefore, the legacy of slavery has basically created a lot of the modern day economy for a lot of big countries. Thank you.